Hello friends, Ben Ochart here. Thank you so much for tuning in. A friend of mine contacted me this morning via email asking about how to get started in African cichlids with a 55-gallon tank. There's various things to consider, and this person was asking for a friend who had recently lost his fish because of a heater malfunction that essentially boiled the fish and killed them. So he was starting over again. Naturally, my first tip was to be sure to get a heater controller that will shut off the power to the heater once the aquarium hits the desired temperature. But that's a topic for a different video. I'll put a link up here on heater controllers, and definitely watch that one if you're not familiar with controllers. The question was, can I get into African cichlids, and what steps, what would you recommend? I have a 55-gallon available. What should I do? So let's go ahead and jump into that. And here are my tips for getting into, for the first time, into African cichlids with a 55-gallon aquarium. Let's go ahead and get into it. By the way, while I'm thinking about it, if you're new to this channel and you like the content of this channel, you like to be learning about filtration and media and really keeping your fish healthy and happy, be sure to hit that thumbs up, the bell, subscribe, all that good stuff, and it's very, very appreciated. This is a little 5-gallon pleco tank. It's due for maintenance today. It's a little dirty. The plecos are all hiding inside the hollow piece of wood there. But you're certainly going to need a bigger tank than this if you want to start in African cichlids. You don't need something as large as this 300-gallon. That would be impractical for a lot of you, both with budget and space and everything else. But it'd sure be awesome if you could. The truth is that a 55-gallon, like this aquarium right here, is not a bad size to start with. The advice I would give you is to start with some fish that are large enough to be sexed, and usually that means 3 inches or 4 inches, and grow them out so that they grow up together, and that you'll be fine in a 55-gallon for a while. If you have the budget and the space to then upgrade to something like a 6 foot across 125-gallon, then I would suggest that you start off with some of the more classic peacock cichlids. And in that group I would include a flavescent, a blue neon, a Benga Sunshine, a bicolor 500, a ruby red, and if you can't get a hold of a ruby red, get a hold of a German red. Fish like that, which are the most colorful and definitely the most eye-popping peacocks. Get them in that 3-inch, 4-inch range, and then put them into the 55 and give them a little time to grow out. Give them a sand substrate and filter the tank with a couple filters so that you can then move one of those filters over to the tank that you'll upgrade to. Usually I'd suggest a hang-on back and a canister, or 2 hang-on back filters, or even 2 canisters, but a combination of 2 filters that then you can then break one off and put it onto your new tank. But growing out those peacocks would be very, very satisfying, because when you first get them, they'll be lightly colored up males, a little color in the face, some egg spots on the anal fin, but as time goes on, they'll blossom into something really, really spectacular. Now, let's say that all you have is room and budget for a 55-gallon. You're not going to be going out to a 125. Then I would suggest that you consider a group of Lethrinops. Lethrinops are Relatively peaceful, not the most aggressive African cichlid, and they come in spectacular color combinations. From your golden Monkey Bay Lethrinops, your red cap Lethrinops. There's several varieties you can choose from, and they're absolutely beautiful. You could put anywhere from between 8 and 12 in here in a 55 gallon, and they would be fine. Again, a sand substrate and some filtration. If you're going to stick with Lethrinops, you might not even need to go with the double filter, just a hefty hang-on back, or maybe a medium-sized canister would do the job. Even though I do love having two types of filtration, in case one filter fails, you can always always count on the other one to handle the load while you fix the broken one, or while you're doing maintenance on one, the other one remains untouched and allows you to keep that stability in the tank. Now, over time, especially if you have a let's say between 3 and 5 inches of sand in the aquarium will become very, very stable. You'll have a real stable base of beneficial bacteria, and you'll be able to do things like even work on both filters if you had to, and not worry too much. But for the first 6 months to a year, be real easy on the amount that you mess with the aquarium, and that way you'll have less chance of a catastrophe. Now, one other tip. Initially, when you're first getting into African cichlids, I do encourage you to stay away from hybrids, and this includes your dragon bloods, and it includes your OBs, right? Your blotch, the mixed colored cichlids. Also, you may want to throw in a Synodontis catfish, just for the fun of it, and a bushy-nosed pleco. Those get along fine with peacocks and with Lethrinops, and they add a little bit of variety to the aquarium. All right, so if you're thinking about jumping into African cichlids and you have a 55, anything from a 55 to a 75, these tips will get you going. And if you have a tolerance, there can be some aggression still, even with that combination of fish. There can still be aggression, but if you have a tolerance for aggression, the rewards are tremendous. Now, one other tip: try not to mix lakes, and try not to mix Mbuna and peacocks. I personally would keep either all Mbuna with a lot of rock work, or all peacocks, but don't mix Mbuna and peacocks, only because it can turn into a bit of a territory battle. Also, don't mix the lakes. Don't throw Tanganyika or Lake Victoria fish in with your Lake Malawi fish. I've never seen that really go for a very long period without some kind of a problem. All of these things are working for somebody out there, and I'm sure you'll comment under the video how it's working for you. But for a beginner, to make it as less stressful as possible, that's what I suggest. Okay, so if you have some tips, ideas, or questions, share them in the comments below. We can talk about this and a heck of a lot more at the Saturday live stream. That's Cichlids and Coffee at 11 a.m. Saturday. That's Central Time, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. And there's the logo, and hope to see you there. And if you like the content of this channel, consider becoming a monthly Patreon supporter. Starts for as little as $3 a month. Information on the Patreon program is in the description below the video. Thank you, my friends. You're the best, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.